Also on the way today, we talk about volunteering in the NHS and the huge difference that you can make. Have you considered volunteering? The volunteering charity Helpforce says a new poll reveals a quarter of people across the South East would consider gifting their time. About 7,000 people actively volunteer with the NHS, and we'll be hearing from one of them. And we'll also hear how you can get involved in volunteering in the NHS as well. So that is all on the way this afternoon. Now, volunteering. We all use NHS services. Some of you will be working in the health service, but have you considered a volunteering role? The volunteering charity Helpforce says a new poll reveals a quarter of people across the South East would consider gifting their time. Around 7,000 people already actively volunteer with the NHS. One of them is Anna Cooke from Seaford, who's a volunteer with the NHS in Sussex. Now, Anna attended a 6-week Exploring Autism course and was then asked to join the team. I spoke to her earlier.
So I work at Seaside View Child Development Centre. It's part of Brighton General Hospital. There is a 5-week Exploring Autism course that's facilitated by specialist nurses. And that course is there to provide parent carers information. They would have recently received an autism diagnosis for one of their children. So it's offered to provide support, and I attend and facilitate that course with the specialist nursing team. I use the knowledge that I have, our lived experience, and just try and give them as much information across those weeks as possible.
It must be quite an overwhelming thing for parents to get that diagnosis and know exactly what that means, what help they can get, how they can help their child. So this sounds a really vital and important course that you're involved in.
I believe so. I think that regardless of whether you felt that this diagnosis was going to come, ordinarily there's lots of emotion attached to that. You know, it might be a bit of shock, or, you know, there's a lot of high emotions there. And when you're actually dealing with finally having that piece of information, there's a lot to process, and parents obviously want to act and know as much as possible. So the specialist nursing team are extraordinarily, you know, they have empathy, their own lived experience. They're so knowledgeable. And I think that between us, we kind of support those sort of questions and emotions for people. And I feel that those who receive that course, like, we're so privileged to have that support, because I understand that not everybody can access that.
And you're doing this because of your own child's diagnosis, and I suppose you mentioned empathy there. That's what it's all about, isn't it? Being able to relate to people and understand exactly what they're going for. But you're obviously a busy mum. Where do you find the time to volunteer as well?
I think it's important. I think it's the best way that I can help, really, because I recognised when I was on the course myself that the information that the specialist nursing team were giving was making such an impact on these households and their loved ones. It was so vital that I felt like I wanted to help as well. Like, I wanted to be a part of that. And I was thinking about it the whole time. And then I was approached by the nursing team, who said, you know, we really appreciate your contribution. How would you feel about helping us along with it? So that's how it began. I wasn't looking to volunteer. It transpired organically.
So that was Anna from Seaford, who has been involved in the Exploring Autism courses. Let's now talk to Amerjit Chohan, who's the Chief Executive of Helpforce, charity helping to increase the amount of volunteering in the NHS. Amerjit, thank you so much for joining us today. Anna clearly gets an awful lot out of volunteering and contributes a lot. It's incredible what people do for the NHS and how many people are involved.
It is, and it's amazing. And Anna's story is, you know, heartfelt, her own personal experience, and willing to give back to the NHS. I mean, there are over 100,000 volunteers in the NHS, and actually 7,000 across the southeast. And I think it just reflects the love that people have for the NHS and the desire to give back.
I think what I was struck by talking to Anna is that you wouldn't imagine that you could volunteer helping to run a course that's so vital to parents. I can imagine there are many different volunteering opportunities that we don't even think about.
There are. I mean, most of them, I'd say, are all non-clinical, such as supporting medication runs from hospital pharmacies, make sure patients go home on time, transporting blood samples from bedside to site labs, reams restocking cupboards. I mean, the main aim of the volunteers is to support medical staff so they can then deliver the best care to patients.
What kind of roles are there then, and how do people find out what's available?
The easiest way to find out is to contact your hospital. Every hospital has a volunteering team, and they'll be delighted to speak to you and discuss the type of volunteering you may want to do. Some volunteering can also lead on to careers in healthcare. So, there's a variety of activities you can get involved in, but I would say, in the first instance, contact your local hospital. And
as well as being lots of different opportunities, I imagine in terms of time commitment, that varies as well. So you can even if you've got a couple of hours, would you be able to volunteer somewhere?
Absolutely, yeah. A couple of hours a week or even longer. It depends on the time you have and where you're based. But I think, as we've seen, there's so many different activities of volunteers to undertake, and some of them are linked to your own personal experience, as with Anna. If you would like to get involved in volunteering, that was the Chief Executive of Helpforce and Anna Cooke from Seaford.